I am Amanda. Thank you so much for showing up today. So grateful to be here. Thank you so much, Brett. I am a transformation doula, sacred rebel, and soul guide. Just kind of going under a lot of transformations in my personal being and in my business. So please, I apologize in advance if everything kind of goes, because it's just so dynamic right now. And I'm sure so many of you are also feeling all of the transformation and the transitional energy that is coming in huge. It's amazing, but it just feels like so much all at once. And when I was sitting in meditation and talking to spirit about what needed to come through today, that's why the whole thing of like the unraveling kind of came through. And it may not show up. At first, I thought it was going to be like a guided meditation and energy healing, but it's kind of like a hybrid of both. Like we'll kind of move into our breath. And then I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of like energy healing and different affirmations and stuff throughout, and tuning into everybody that is live. And the energy is coming in on the replay as well to specifically kind of be able to shift out the different things that are presenting for everybody at this time. Because I know that there's a lot. I know that there's a lot. And at the end, if you're like, what were you talking about? Just hit me up, ask me. I will absolutely explain things. Sometimes, especially when I'm in the energy of channeling, I just go really quickly. I'm a super passionate person. If you can't figure that out, I don't mind if people have to stop me and be like, pull it back. So interestingly enough, I don't know if you guys have ever played with the what is it called? I think the Oracle deck was called energy cards, like literally just called energy or something. There was this one card in particular, and this is the image that just kept on coming into play with me when I was tuning into today and showing up here with you guys in this group. And the picture on this particular card, I think it was called attachment, was this woman that was standing and she had her arms down to her sides, and she had almost like a tether or something, handcuff, something attached to her wrist and then attached to this pole. And the pole was maybe up to her hips. And it was just a thing that was put down. So she could have easily raised her arm like this and pulled it off with ease and grace. It's like that picture I've seen, I'm sure most of us have seen, of the horse tied to a plastic chair. And that's a big thing that's coming up right now, is those external things and societal programming and things that are kind of put onto us, that even when we are at this place of awareness, conscious awakening, raising our vibration, sometimes we forget of all this other stuff. It's like the static, and we push it down and we don't think about it, or we do the whole thing like, oh, high five, I'm just going to put that in this little container and I'm going to forget about it and put it over here. And it's like when we are doing this vibrational, like raising up vibrational and vibrational frequencies of the collective are really pulling everything up. That's why everything feels so dense right now, because everything that is not a match for that vibrational frequency just feels like, oh, like all the anchors that are still there, that still needs, some awareness brought to them, some energy, some cord dissolving, because I often do cord dissolving versus cutting, because you don't want flingy shit. Like if you cut a rope, I'm sure my dog has rope here. If I cut this in the middle, it leaves two pieces of flingy things. So cutting it and then dissolving it, so there's nothing left to reattach. And going in and feeling that dissolving energy and releasing. And that's kind of what spirit is calling us to do right now, is while these higher vibrational frequencies are coming up and shifting up all of this, both within and without, so inner realm and outer realm. And we're feeling all of these comfortable discomforts and all of this stuff kind of coming to and through. And we're being asked to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and uncomfortable with being comfortable. This big shift of energy kind of coming in. So just going to get you to get a little comfortable. I was going to play music, but it gets all weird and then you can't hear me. So if you have music that you want to play, go for it. And if you don't, if you want to just relax to the sound of my dog snoring, you're more than welcome to do that as well. I've been told on lives that it is also very calming, which is weird to me, but that's okay. So I'm just going to invite you to just move into breath. Get comfortable in your physical body, maybe giving yourself some wiggles and some shifts. Something feels a little uncomfortable. Really feeling into that breath, into your being, setting the intention, breathing in beautiful high vibrational energy under the vibration of love, compassion, knowing, being, connection, joy. Feeling that energy moving through the entirety of your body in each inhale, helping shift up any lower vibrational, stagnant, old, outdated energies that are residing anywhere within your physical and etheric field. You might hear me snapping my fingers or making odd noises throughout. It's just me kind of shifting through energies. As you're moving through these beautiful inhales, energetically shifting this energy, moving throughout, releasing all of these energies that are kind of pulled up to the surface with every exhale. Feeling grounded, centered, refocused, allowing our nervous system to recalibrate, to reset, releasing all the energy, external and internal, from the day. Across all dimensions of time and space. For a lot of us that are very multidimensional beings, it's so important that when we are doing the quick moving back into our breath, moving back into our being, doing the quick little meditative resets throughout the day, that we remember to throw on across dimensions of time and space. So we're not necessarily feeling that bleed over. So we're just releasing the energy fully and completely straight through. So often, a lot of people come to me saying, oh, I can still feel it after I release it. And with that, there's this beautiful call to just, right, that's because I'm multidimensional and I have the capacity to hold all things and to release everything across all dimensions of time and space. I don't need to feel it anywhere. It's not serving me to my best interest and highest good. Taking back my sovereignty and letting it go. Now I want you to bring yourself back into the presence of your physical body, to your etheric body, the being that is this earthly being, still feeling all the connections to all that is across all dimensions of time and space, calling it all in now. Visualizing almost like a rope that's kind of been wrapped around you, wrapped around, wrapped around, wrapped around, wrapped around, wrapped around, and you're holding the two ends of this rope. And it might feel tense and it might feel super uncomfortable. It might feel scary and it might just feel like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It might just feel overwhelming and overstimulating, but calling on everything that, all these anchoring energies, everything that is showing up as resistance, blocks, anything that's ready to be released across all dimensions of time and space, everything that we have claimed. So things like my anxiety versus I am experiencing anxiety, my issue versus something I am experiencing in this moment. You are not defined by your external circumstances. They are something you're experiencing in this moment. So anything that you have claimed that is actually not a part of your deepest truth, known and unknown, seen and unseen, conscious and unconscious, allowing this to move into this rope through your being, shifting it into this rope, setting the intention. And it's okay if it feels really ugh right now. We'll get there. We're going to do a little bit. My light language comes through in sign language. So I'm just going to quickly do some movements. When you have all of that energy, right, it's ready to be released today in that rope, and it might still come, and that's okay. I want you to recognize how it feels. And in that, I want you to recognize that this rope is not tied. This rope is never tied. In those times that we have those ties that bind and that energy that feels extremely restrictive, it's not a truth because we are holding the ends. All we need to do is drop the ends and shift our body, shift our being, shift our consciousness, move around. You can even physically move your body of where it feels restricted, creating space. And as you move, because if you move really quickly, then you kind of create the tension on the rope. But if you drop the ends and move intentionally, shifting with that energy, the rope will naturally just fall away. Everything that you have identified with, all the societal programming, all of the beliefs, everything that you believed to be true, that is not your truth. Everything from the lower vibrational energetic standpoint. Meaning, if I am laying on this floor, this spot that I'm at right now, my perspective is completely different than if I start to levitate on the roof. So shifting our vibration upwards, not denying all of those anchors, recognizing them, acknowledging them, giving gratitude to them, seeing them for what they are versus what we've made them out to be, standing deeper in our truth, calling back all those higher aspects of being. Releasing anything that we may have drawn in intentionally or unintentionally from others, from society, anything that is an anchoring energy that's kind of vampiric and sucking our energy from us without us knowing, allowing that to all release, let go. Almost feels like a snake spirit wants to come in, that shedding of that skin and that releasing. It's not painful. It's just a part of it. Evolution and growth over time. Bringing in that transformation energy. Also pull in violet flame to burn away all of those edges. Flame is an absolutely wonderful tool when moving through a lot of transformation energy, because with flame, if you throw in a cedar block to a fire, the cedar block uses what it can, or the fire rather uses what it can from the cedar block to build and empower and grow. If you throw a styrofoam cup into that flame, the flame uses what it can from the styrofoam cup to build and empower and grow, and just releases the rest of black smoke. It doesn't falter, it doesn't stop. It just lets it go and keeps burning and keeps shining, transforms it into something that can be transmuted, to something that can be released, into something that brings empowerment through disempowerment, like the lotus. We cannot and will not have lotuses without the mud, without all of that beautiful nutrients of the mud. Reminding ourselves as we shift as we grow, as we lean into our edges, as we allow ourselves to step away from all that we've ever known, into all that is available to us. Feeling any fears that come in, but recognizing that you do not need to embody or embrace them in a way that makes you feel heavy, but you can embody and embrace in a way that feels empowered. I have got through absolutely everything in my life up until this point, and it may have been hard, but here I am. All of the adversity I've faced, I am resilient, I am powerful, I am connected, I am protected, I am vibrant. I am the light, the dark, and everything in between, and I have the capacity to hold all that is simultaneously, transmuting all that does not serve me and the higher consciousness. I have the capacity to see things for what they are versus what they're being made out to be, both within myself and without myself. And the capacity to stand in that with compassion, non-judgment, love, understanding, patience. There is nothing wrong with allowing myself to feel all the feelings that come up, to sit with them, to be with them, feeling heavy, feeling doubt, feeling fear, feeling regret, feeling guilt, feeling shame, all of that. Allowing it to be that fuel, that styrofoam cup, building up and letting it go and feeling that, feeling it to release it, acknowledging its presence, knowing you do not have a grip on me, but you are absolutely a stepping stone for my transcendence, for my transformation, for my growth. Giving it gratitude, seeing it differently. When you're feeling repeated patterns coming into your life, not taking them as a sign that you haven't done the work, or that, oh my goodness, there's so much more to do, taking it as a sign that I have, and here is an opportunity for me to show myself how far I've come and how much I still have to do to approach this situation through a more empowered lens, to approach the situation from a different angle, from a different perspective. And the next time it comes up, doing the same thing and doing the same thing until the situation ceases to come up. Or when it comes up, you don't even recognize it anymore. Not giving our power away to people, places, or things. Not allowing other thoughts, feelings, or energies to have a claim on our being, and not claiming them as our truth. Feeling safety, calling in the safety of being, that safety of standing in our deepest soul truth, even when it's our deepest and darkest, knowing that we are the light. The dark within the dark is where I found my light, recognizing that, acknowledging that, learning to feel comfortable in navigating the light, because you are in the dark, because you are the darkness and light and the shadows and everything in between. It's not outside of you, it is you, and it's all existing simultaneously, and it's all beautiful chaos. Being able to feel into the beauty of that chaos, being able to shift the disempowering into the empowering in the moments that it's coming for us, even if we're doing it crying and feeling that, that's beautiful. Seizing the judgment of how we show up and how we move through things, and just recognizing, oh yes, look how freaking fantastical I am. I am shifting this. I am not alone. I always have my entire spirit team around me, across all dimensions of time and space. Feeling into your energetic field, your physicality, feeling any shifts and differences, any energies that are still maybe a little stuck and stagnant. The energy into that, letting it go. Imagining a beautiful, white, luminescent, golden light coming through your crown chakra, all the way through, down your root chakra, down your earth chakra, and then coming back up again. Love above to love below. Feeling this energy moving to and through, shaking out, shifting up, moving any and all energy that's still maybe remaining. Shifting it out, recognizing your deepest truth, feeling that connection, bringing it into the now. Coming back into the room. I'm actually also called, and it's okay, you can be where you're at in this, to do a quick, sorry, lost the earth words, forgiveness mantra. So I'm just going to go through this, and it will move to the energies that it needs to move through. I shipped some more stuff out. I forgive myself for not being who I needed, wanted, and expected me to be. I forgive you for not being who I needed, wanted, and expected you to be. I forgive us for not being who I needed, wanted, and expected us to be. I forgive us and I set us free. I forgive me and I set me free. I forgive you and I set you free. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Thank you. It is safe for me to be me. It is safe for me to shed the skin that I had kept on as protection. I no longer need that because I am protected divinely. And even while I'm going through the trials and tribulations that feel like they're going to break me, they won't. Because my core is unbreakable. It's simply my shell that is, but my shell is meant to be broken and shifted and released so that I can transcend like the caterpillar to the chrysalis, melty meltdown of beingness into the butterfly that flies off, that takes flight, moving through our many forms, maybe painful at times, but it's also beautiful. Allowing ourselves to feel into the beauty and the safety of this transitioning versus just the pain. Pain is just a part. You don't have to stay in the pain. Feel it. Go there and release it. See it for what it is versus what it's being made out to be in the moment. Because you are a powerful badass. All these amazing, incredible things are coming to and through you now, and they're strengthening now. And yes, you have the capacity to receive and hold them. You are an imperfectly perfect, messy masterpiece of awesome. Where is, as is, how is. And it will look like what it's meant to look like. And it will shift as it's meant to shift. You can't fuck it up. Just flow with it. Just allow it. Just be. All right. Coming back and feeling into your body, creating space in your physical body as you move back into your beingness and the presence and the now. All right, guys, welcome back and thank you so much. How did that feel for you? Take your time if you still need a couple of minutes as well, obviously. Sorry.
I didn't want you to stop. I wanted you to keep going. It was just wonderful.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Thank you, Corey.
Loved it.
Thank you, Amanda.
Yes, you're so welcome.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect for me right now. Everything was perfect for me right now. I'll have to rewatch it.
Absolutely. So how I do things, and I'm sorry, I forgot to even introduce myself. Like when I came on, I was in the higher vibrational energy for 2 hours before. Like I was in the ocean, communing with the ocean. I was outside naked. I live on an acreage, laying in the moss. I was out with my dogs barefoot. So I was already working on this before. So to bring myself back into my body and be like, oh, this is who I am and this is what I do. It went, and I was like in it to win it. So my apologies for that. But so how I do things is I've got everything that I do is energetically encoded across all dimensions of time and space. So anytime you come back to it, you're going to get something different. It's going to meet you with the energy that you come back to it with. I'm just doing a little bit more, sorry. And this weird stuff that I'm doing is the like linguistics that kind of downloaded for me a couple of years ago. I started with a Reiki background. I call Reiki my gateway drug because it helped me to realize who and what I was and deepen my understanding of energy and higher frequencies because I did not have anybody around me as a child. I was just somebody who could feel, know, and see beyond, but was a very mainstream family. So I was just kind of going around like this Care Bear sponge, not knowing what the hell was going on until, but still in it and still operating from that place until probably my mid 20s. And then it was that deepening. The universe brought me to Reiki. And the more I sat with it, the more all of these different frequencies were coming through. So I shifted from that. There's still a bit of it that people can feel in what I do. But now it's just like whatever needs to come through in the moment with whomever I'm with and whatever energy. Really cool stuff comes when I'm doing ocean healing. It's like stuff I've never seen before, like when I'm right in the ocean. But yeah. So when I'm doing all of this, it's like it's light language, but it's sign language version. There was a lot for some of the people that are on now. It might be just the people that are on now. No, it's both. And on the replay. There's still a little bit of fear around, like, as we do the transitioning and the transformation and the growth, because you can't have growth without challenge. So there's both. And as we're doing all the work, sometimes those that we love around us aren't willing or ready to do their work. So we're kind of climbing vibrationally, and then the other ones are like, here. They're busy in the mud part, and we're doing lotus. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. There's no judgment in it, but don't allow the vibration of others to keep you stuck. You can love them from where they're at without enabling them, without keeping yourself small. If I've learned anything on my journey, it's like I used to cut. That's kind of a lie. It's not like I used to try to keep myself small somewhat, and then I realized I was really sucking at it. And the more I just really embraced my bigness and my beingness and everything that I am without judgment, because I would judge it because I am a really big energy. I'm really hyper, like, passionate about things. And people would always like try to put me in a box, and for some aspects, I would kind of like let myself be, and then I just thought, fuck that shit. If you guys aren't ready, that's okay. You can be where you're at, and I can love you from there, but I'm done. I deserve to release myself from this. It's like freeing yourself from yourself. And sometimes that looks like having to shift out relationships. I call it a revolving door. If you vibrationally can't be there right now and you're being anchoring, you're allowed to be where you're at, but the door's going to go flip you out the door. And I'll stand here like this. Be there, not here. I can't have that right now. I need to be mindful of my energy, where my energy is at. You're allowed to be where you're at, but to the point where I'll sometimes just walk away from conversations. I would say to people, like, I hung up on my grandma, and everyone's like, oh my God, you're so mean. I'm like, no, what that would look like is boundaries. Like, if someone's having a poo-poo parade in your face, which I'm feeling there's some energies that are going on right now with some of you with that, it's like, hey, I can't be a part of this conversation right now. If we can't shift it, I have to like go. Like, I'm not. And I've said this before, my grandma is now on the other side, but I've hung up on her because I gave her a warning. Like, I'm not going there. If you want to go there, you got to go there with somebody else. I'm not going there with you. Natter. I love you so much, Grandma. I will call you tomorrow. I love you. I love you. Goodbye. Click. I told you 3 times. You weren't able to meet me there. You weren't able to meet yourself there. That's okay. I'm not going to judge it. But if I don't sit there and protect my energy, who's going to? And if other people can't even be aware of their own shit, they're certainly not going to be aware of theirs. Because that's not where they're at, and it's okay. So when we have all of this stuff kind of coming up, that's a part of it, right? Like, that's a part of the thing about just releasing it and not letting ourselves kind of sit in the mud being mad that we're muddy. All right, I think that's all the stuff that wanted to come through. Sorry. Spirit is random, which I'm sure you guys understand. They're like, oh, you're done. No, you're not. Wait a minute. But no, I think we're good. Any questions?
I just wanted to say whatever you did, I like was falling asleep too, which that doesn't usually happen for me. So that was pretty cool. I was like struggling. I there wasn't any being awake. Like, I was trying to like not fall off the chair because I was like passed out.
Awesome. That's awesome question. No, thank you for sharing. It might have been the ambiance of my snoring too. My snoring committee. They're actually, all 3 of them are rescues, and all 3 of them are super powerful healers. I have some clairvoyant friends that'll be watching. She's like, oh my God, there's like a rainbow going on beside you right now. Your energy is overwhelming enough, but then you got your dogs. It's like, what's going on?
That's cool.
Yeah. They help me whether I want them to or not. Sometimes their helping is a little bit overbearing. That's okay. Sometimes Ray's like right in my face. It has to be right in the video. She's only 2, so.
I'm thinking about getting a puppy.
Awesome. Oh, this one. So this is Araya. She is she's 2.5 by now. She's fully deaf. She's partially vision impaired as well. And she is a ball of joy. Like, she is a ball of joy. And then we have Mako, who is 15. We just adopted him. He's in the middle guy. We just adopted him 6 months ago, and Koa is on the end. He's 10, and I've had him for 5 years, adopted him 5 years ago. Everybody's special needs. Mako has brain damage and PTSD. And Koa was a severe neglect case. So, Ray, I'm not sure. Pardon?
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, they've been my biggest teachers. And yeah, you really have to be present around them. If you're not, they will get you back into that real quick.
I haven't had a dog in over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So I really could use one.
I don't know.
I used to rescue the whole city. You know, I used to be a rescuer and had them all the time. And then I haven't been able to for 20 years, you know.
Yeah.
I can now.
That's awesome. Do it. That's my dream, is to have, I call it my crusty ranch, crusty teenagers, crusty dogs, crusty horses, crusty people that are like unhoused that need to like help themselves kind of bring back some skills and some empowerment and joy in their life. Everybody's helping each other. Big old crusty ranch. That's what I want to do. Just waiting for the universe to drop on the big old lottery and we're good. No, I know it's coming. It's just that great old divine timing thing that we all love so very much. Make sure, guys, you might already know this, because I know that Brett's super powerful as well and he does his stuff, but making sure to drink lots of water when you remove like the level of toxins that we kind of moved through and the level of energy that we shifted, making sure herbal tea is good too. Sometimes I get bored with water, so I do herbal tea instead that I forgot to drink. I always have someone I'm doing healings because I start to go like really parched really fast. But yeah, water, herbal tea. If you can get outside and get barefoot, I know some of you may live in places that are still snowy and gross. Shouldn't say gross because it's still not gross. It's just cold and I don't like cold. But if you can get like bare feet on grass, awesome, perfect. Really helping that grounding and that recentering and that recalibrating with the neurons or the electrons rather in the earth. Or even if it's just hands on a tree or hands in the gravel, dirt, whatever. I'm kind of feeling too that some of you could really use some earth, like some nature grounding right now with all of the energy kind of moving through and you're trying to keep it together. It's like nature is the best place to lose it. Screaming in the water, releasing it into the ground, transmutes it instantly. And it's always readily available to us, even if we live in a city.
Does it work pretty fast?
Pardon me?
Does it work pretty fast? Like I always wonder what's actually happening when I'm sitting on the earth. I go out there every day, but I just always wonder if I could see what was happening, it'd be kind of cool. But
so ask it,
does
Angie.
it work pretty fast, like right away?
Yeah. So when they did the scientific data, which I'm not always a huge fan of, but my partner is, so I have to learn the things that I don't necessarily care about. So technically speaking, I do care, but it's within about 3 minutes that you get. Yeah. And so there was data that said something like 3 minutes of being out barefoot can last you a week.
Wow, I'm out there like an hour every day.
Yeah, me too. And some of us, like, obviously you're similar to me in that is I need more of it. Like I really need, like, I am where I vibrate and all of the stuff that's kind of moving around and with me and within me and without me and all the stuff right now is like, I'm just constantly outside. And with these three, I'm lucky enough to be renting on an acreage that we're just outside all the time. Unless the weather is being a pain because my dogs believe that rain is acid trying to murder them. So in the rain, we don't go out as much. But yeah, just that reconnection, like even when we're really feeling in resistance, it is working on us right away, even if we're not realizing it. But a thing that somebody told me many years ago is I would struggle at that point in my life with clairvoyance. It's like, well, I want to see, and this particular person was really like quick at seeing different energies coming through, especially when we were working with Reiki energies or whatever different, like we had a theta healer friend. And she just turned around and said to us, just ask if I could see it clearly, what would it look like? So we did, and we're like, that's how easy it is. But we're so fixated on wanting and expecting it to look a certain way. I'm like, well, I can't see it. I can't feel. Well, yeah, you are. But it's that thing that's hiding right in plain sight. And our expectation is basically like making it so that we can't see it or feel it in the simple way that it's there because we're overcomplicating something that's simple. It's more subtle than what we expect it to be or what we kind of want it to be. And especially when you're just kind of opening up into that, but then it gets stronger when you let yourself kind of feel and you're like, oh shit, hey. Or it'll sneak up on you and you're like, okay, show me how easy it is to feel this. Show me how easy it is to see this. Let me experience this. And then just releasing attachment to outcome, dropping into your breath and letting it go. And it might not be in that moment. It might be the next time you go out, you're like, whoa. what's up with that radiating green wave thing? Like, okay. But yeah, it's pretty, everything is pretty magical. Sorry, it just keeps on going. And that's too, like with a bunch of you have a whole bunch of different gifts and stuff strengthening and new stuff coming online. And you're being called to just kind of deepen into the trust and faith and don't dismiss anything. Because sometimes the things are really subtle. And when we dismiss them, that's exactly the thing that we're kind of waiting for, but we're busy looking for it to appear in a different way. So we don't recognize it and we kind of, oh, okay. It's like, here's this crystal, but if I'm looking for an obsidian, I'm not going to see, I don't have an obsidian behind me. What can I use? A dog treat. I'm looking for the dog treat. The dog treat's right there, but I'm not going to see it because it's on the other side. And I forgot that I can just kind of move around things, right? Shift and see things and allow them to come more into the forefront because it might be right there. We just can't see it because we're hitting the thing that we recognize. Like I can't recognize, I haven't seen the dog treat before, so I don't really know what it is, even if it's standing like this. I can see the selenite, I recognize that right away, and it's like, oh, there's a blob. There's a blob on the selenite. We kind of don't even think, what's that blob? Get curious. Get really curious like a child. Like, what is that? What's it telling me to do? What's it calling me to do? What's the energy of that? Shift into it, move through it. And if it is something darker, because sometimes, because we've been dark and light in all of the different things and all of the different lights, and some people get really scared of the dark. It's not about being fearful of it. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's something that is meant to, is just coming up for me to transmute that aspect of it because I used that gift negatively in a past life. That's not how I'm going to use it right now. I'm releasing all of that energetic transference. I'm letting that go, forgiving myself in that life, and I'm pulling in this gift to be used for the good and from a place of love. I'm not going to see it as a scary thing because I have used it in bad ways before. That's not who I am now. That's not my soul contract now. So just releasing all of that energy from that and then bringing it in. And you can ask them too, like, what can this do? What is this expanding into? An example I have is I'm just seeing somebody coming in with a similar gifting. That's why I'm kind of being called to share the story. But many, many, many years ago, I was doing a Reiki share with who was actually my Reiki master. But I was sitting there and I had forgotten one of my crystals. And I went like this with my hands. I'm like, God darn, forgot my crystal. And she's laying on the bed. I'm like, oh my gosh, it just showed up hysterically in my hand. And I'm like freaked out. She's looking at me and she's a very strong clairvoyant. She's like, what? This crystal. She's like, I see that. What does it want? I'm like, it wants to go in your heart chakra. She's like, okay, cool, put it there. Oh, put it in there, and all of these different colors and stuff. So it kind of fused with her and all this different stuff happened. It started out with crystals, only crystals that I had a relationship with. And now it's calling on from all different dimensions of time and space without even having to think about it. Like while I'm pulling in my like linguistics, all these different crystals, sacred geometry, all of these different things are dropping in. So it started with crystals. And then the more I expanded into it, I didn't just let it be that. I'm like, what else can this do? How can I expand into this? How can I trust this deeper? The more I worked with it, the more it shifted. The more I shifted, the more it shifted. The more I shifted, it shifted. And then it became this massive thing. The more I trusted it, the more I dove into it, the more it was allowed to kind of become what it was versus how it presented for me at once. If that makes sense. I also, when I work, so when I do stuff like this, I also have like everybody who was in with this healing that consented to this healing and that consent to have the grid. There is an energetic healing grid that kind of goes, sorry, lost the earth words again. Energetic healing grid that anybody can kind of like cord into for the next 24 to 48 hours. Like it will be there, and then you can kind of come in and out as you need, as your consciousness needs to. It's just something that I automatically set up, and it's encoded to that live as well. So when you experience that, then it kind of reforms that, because again, time doesn't exist as we feel, but it does. Whew. And make sure you're moving your body enough too. When you're feeling the heaviness, shake, like literally shake it out. Who cares how ridiculous it looks? Because it gets stuck in our physical and we need to like give it a release point of some sort. I do a lot of somatics too, because I realize how powerful somatic movement was, and just intentional movement. And even if it looks ridiculous, I will be in a grocery store, and I'm next level, so you don't have to do it this way. I'll be in a grocery store and I'll feel an energy like this. I'm like, wow. I keep walking and my partner will be like, oh, energy. I'm like, yes. Like, he's just so used to it. People might look at me strange, and like, whatever, if I don't get at least one strange look at it, I'm doing something wrong. Like, just embracing that. But yeah, movement is great. You can ask it too. When there's like stuck energies or stiffness in your body, you can literally ask that stiffness what it is. If it's something that you need to do, something that you need to shift, what does it need in order to release? Because our body is super intelligence. We just forget how to tune into it. Or we forget to. We just full out, like, don't even think of it, because we'll be in our physicality. I'm like, woo! Soul went up here somewhere, and we're going. So bringing it back in, dropping it back in, feeling into it, and asking our literal body. Especially with all of this energy moving through right now. There's some really crazy, amazing, but energy waves in the last month or so. And it's good. It's keep going. It's here. Okay. Finally done.